Can't see you. Okay. Hi, folks. Thanks for coming out tonight. For people who haven't been to these sessions before, just to let you know very quickly that you'll see very quickly how to pick up on this. It's very informal in terms of Q&A. If you want to ask Bashar something, you just sort of shout out Bashar and he'll point at you in whatever way he thinks is the right order. But if you do get picked to do a question, we have a remote mic here, so just wait till the mic is handed to you so that we can make sure we get you clearly on the tape. Then all you do is just talk with him informally. And that's about all there is to it. So thanks for coming again, and have fun. And I'll see you. Good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing our civilization to make this kind of contact and allowing us to make this transmission this day of your time. Once again, each and every time this is allowed, our civilization benefits by being allowed to experience all the different facets, all the different perspectives, all the unique points of view of your civilization. So we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission with the following notion that we will entitle Illumination. Many times in your daily lives, when you are going about your business, as you say, and you come across ideas or feelings that allow you to feel a little bit heavy, a little bit weighed down, a little bit sad, then you can allow yourself an opportunity to do the following thing. You can allow yourself to remember, if you will, for a moment at these times, that you are made of light, literally, energy, light. You are made of light. And as you think upon the idea that you are made of light, whether it be that you close your eyes and have a meditation, a momentary meditation, or whether you simply remember some image or create some image in your mind that allows you to perceive yourself, your body, as if it is made of light. Each and every atom becoming more and more energetic, more and more illuminated, beginning to shine, to glow of its own accord with inner light. And as your body is composed of all of these small shining stars, you begin to see your entire body glow with one light. As you illuminate yourself, you will increase, enhance, accelerate, and uplift your energy. Now, we do not tell you to do this for the purpose of ignoring, avoiding, denying, or glossing over any important feelings you may have, be they feelings of sadness, sorrow, anger, fear. We do not mean for you to gloss these over and ignore them and press them down. We do not mean for you to suppress them. But the idea is that if you will allow yourself a moment of illumination, to remember that you are a being of light, that you are having an experience that is simply being translated into energetic terms, then you can, by uplifting your energy in this way, by taking this moment of illumination, give yourself the ability, remind yourself that you have the power to deal with these feelings, with these circumstances, with these situations. And also, the greatest benefit of allowing yourself to take this moment of illumination will be in putting yourself in a different state, a different frequency, a different vibrational reality. And in so doing, you will then create the ability to attract into your mind's eye, into your imagination, courses that you can take, opportunities that you may not have seen before, options that you may not have been aware were available to you in your previous state, perhaps of despair, or sadness, or confusion, or anger, or frustration, or fear. These states, by definition, will prevent you from being capable of seeing how you can transform those states. Those states will only bring with them by definition, options that are commensurate with those states, with those vibration levels, and so they will have a tendency to perpetuate more fear, more frustration, despair, as you say, depression. But if you will, take a moment to illuminate yourself and raise your energy vibrational level in such times as these may occur to you, then you can, without denying the feeling that you're having, plug yourself into the vibrational state that allows you to see the difference between the vibrational state of joy and ecstasy and the vibrational state you may have been existing in, and give you an opportunity to tap into opportunities and circumstances, ideas, inspirations that can help you learn from the previous feeling, help you figure out how to transform these ideas, and give you new insights into what avenues, what paths, what actions to take that can bring you to a different level, a different plane, and allow you to reap the benefit of insight in understanding why those feelings did exist, helping you to get in touch with your definitions so that you can change them, because only from those definitions do feelings come. So give yourself an opportunity to do this, to play with your vibrational state up and down the scale of frequencies, up and down the spectrum, to go from the dark, slower vibrations to the higher, lighter vibrations of energy. And without, as I have said, denying the feeling you had, put yourself in two places, make a comparison, remember the state you were in, remember the feeling you were having, but at the same time, oscillate back and forth between that lower level and the higher level so that you can give yourself the point of view, the parallax necessary, the perspective necessary to see from the higher position how you can deal more effectively, more creatively with the lower position, with the more frustrating position. To make it less frustrating by giving yourself the opportunity to function in this higher state as your higher self, as your illuminated self, to see what your higher self would do in this circumstance, because you are your higher self when you choose to be. So, illumination used in this way to create this double point of view will give you a more dimensional perspective on your circumstance and situation, so that you do not necessarily have to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, that there is no way out of your circumstance, that you do not have to perceive what you are going through as a dilemma, but only as an opportunity for change, for an opportunity in increasing your perspective and understanding yourself more deeply. For that is what it is all about, understanding and remembering more of who you are, learning how to use that in a daily, pragmatic and practical application, benefiting from the results of that insight and that perspective, and growing and experiencing more creativity and joy and abundance as a result. That is it. That is what it is all about. Becoming, learning, remembering who you already are. This is one way, one technique. This illumination moment is one technique to allow you more opportunity to remember and experience, most importantly, experience who you really are. For that is, again, what it is all about. You are choosing to experience yourself as physical beings, therefore, seeing yourself as energy, as light, will allow you to experience that side of yourself as well, simultaneously. And you can use this perspective to your advantage in many ways. Allow your imagination to be your guide. We thank you for allowing us now to share with you this idea, which we have called illumination. And in return, once again, for the gift that you are giving to our civilization, in allowing us to experience this interchange with you, I ask in return, in what way may I and my world be of service to you?
Bashar.
You! And then you. Number 2, do you know who you are? Number 3, do you know who you are? All right. Number 1, good day.
Good day, Bashar. I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about the collective that I channeled last Saturday. Or if I was even accurately identified.
Yes, in a sense. Though there was a little bit of a mislabeling, but in a sense, you are beginning to arrive at that level where you are in touch with the collective of your total being, of your own higher self, The collective that is represented by different lives that you have lived, as you would say, colloquially, or are living simultaneously in different dimensions. The collective of your different personality components within the person you know yourself to be here. You are beginning the process of integration, the different fragments within the consciousness that you are, pulling them together to become more holistic. It is not so much exactly an outside collective, but an inner collective. However, it is going to be represented to you by an outside symbology, an archetypal outside symbology. This does not mean that you are not also in touch with outer guides, outer spiritual help, other dimensional assistance, but the actual direct energy that you are in touch with now is your own collective energy that you are now at the threshold of learning to integrate. Do you understand this idea?
I do, and it identified itself as a Syrian collective consciousness with an Essassani counterpart, but it wanted to make clear in its statement that it was not the Essassani, and for me not to mislabel it
yes.
or construe it to be such,
yes.
but that it was Syrian.
But again,
and that would again, to me, be something external.
Well, again, no. We are not saying that there is no external component or assistance. And the idea is that the serious energy now is the energy of integration on your planet at this time, archetypally. Overall, as a collective people, you are going from the old Orion segregative energy, collectively, archetypally, to the serious energy, collectively, archetypally. So in any act of integration, you're all dealing with serious energy, and so it can identify itself, or you can recognize it as a serious frequency, and serious in some sense is involved in that they are lending their energy in this participation of integration. But the thing to understand, as you did understand with regard to the Essassanian part, is that it is your energy that you are feeling, being integrated. You are integrating the components of your own consciousness, and you are using, tapping into the serious frequency archetypally to do so. You understand how we mean this?
No, not exactly.
All right. Lighten up yourself a little bit. This is not complicated. Understand. Your whole world is being given energy from many different sources. Many different so-called external sources, as you say, are sending energy to your planet, sending frequencies, carrier waves, vibrations, giving off frequencies, resonances that are representative of integrated states of being. Do you follow me so far on that?
Yes.
Therefore, in any attempt that any of you may make, such as the one you are describing, to integrate yourself, bring through more of yourself, the idea will be that first and foremost, you need to integrate your own self before you make a stronger connection to other things. You are being given assistance by serious energy because you are tapping into serious energy for the purpose you know you need to use it for, which is the integration of your own personality structure. And that is what you are experiencing right now in this particular point in your process. Does that make more sense to you?
Yeah, and the reason I ask you about it is because I'm still not 100% trusting in it myself.
Well, there you go. You see, more integration is required.
But what can you tell me about the Essassani counterpart and how that relates into there?
How it relates is to allow yourself to do what it is I am, in some senses, implying that you do. And that is to keep your focus right now on the earth, grounded on yourself, on your own personal process in this integration, and not to go off in the wondering of who else you might be in touch with and what else you might be capable of being in contact with, but to keep it, as you say in your language, down to earth, personal, for your own integration. Right now, that is the part the Essassani energy plays, paradoxically, is to keep you grounded and down to earth and focused on your own integration rather than being too focused on labeling it as other things. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
That is how it serves you. In counterpoint to the serious energy, that is how it serves you. So, while you recognize that you are tapped into these energies, in some senses, once you recognize you are tapped into those energies and once you recognize you have the assistance of those energies, the point is to ignore that you are tapped into those energies and just use them to tap into yourself and learn more about how to integrate your own personality structures into one being. Then when more integration occurs within you, you'll automatically be more capable, if necessary, of attracting a more conscious association with something, quote-unquote, outside, while that is not always necessary. Does this make some sense to you, then?
I'm trying to make it make sense to me.
Don't try too hard. Again, it isn't that complicated. Any difficulty you are experiencing, without meaning to offend you, is simply the result of resistance you are having to the idea that this is you need to look at, and not something outside.
Okay, but why is it... I don't understand. When, in this particular instance,
yes?
I wasn't sure what it was.
I have just told you what it was.
No, I wasn't that insistent that it put a label on it when I was channeling it.
But you are in a position of wondering.
Yet it did put its own label.
I understand that. What I am telling you is, in the future, it will not be confusing if you will take it in the way that I have already just told you to take it, and don't sit there wondering about it. Just say, never mind what it says or doesn't say. Never mind what I think I need to know. I know what I need to know. In that, whatever it is I tap into, it is for the purpose right now of me integrating my own personality fragments into one integrated holistic persona. And that's all you need to know. That's what I'm saying to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2.
Greetings.
And to you, good day.
Is this a Bashar Plus? You sound a little different tonight.
It is of a different age than many of you are used to.
Older than we're used to?
In some senses, yes. You are dealing with what you would consider to be about a 257-year-old Bashar, rather than the typical 150 to 170-year-old.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have some questions about the hybrid children.
Yes.
On a tape, I heard you say that a child asked you, and you said that you visited the hybrid children sometimes, and that you
yes.
You mentioned that you sang songs with them.
Yes, sometimes.
Any songs that we have from Earth, or they're...
If they choose such, because they have been taught such, yes, sometimes.
Okay, I'm curious about the hybrid children, and you told me to play my favorite music, and
yes,
it would be like a bridge for us.
Yes.
Well, that's the Grateful Dead, and I was.
All right.
Do they know that?
They can tap into your consciousness and understand. It isn't necessarily in every case something they can relate to. However, there is irony in what you have chosen. The irony, in many ways, there also seems to be laughter in what you have chosen, for some. But the irony, in many ways, is that in that they are learning the concepts of your world, many of them feel exactly as you have labeled that music. They are grateful to exist. Yet because they are not yet fully integrated, because they are in some senses feeling lost between two worlds, they feel dead. So they are in that sense grateful, yet dead.
Okay, there's lots of irony with myself as well, because I was enjoying imagining hybrid children wearing tie-dyes and dancing,
This they do not wear. I have seen one example of one child wearing a piece of your clothing that you would refer to as tie-dyed. This is rare. In general, they do not do this, and if they do, it is for a brief period of time for the sensation that they would get in simply putting this on and identifying with a piece of your culture. But it is done as an experiment, not as a permanent thing.
Wasn't one of my offspring, was it?
No.
Well, they're welcome to my wardrobe. I have lots of tie-dye to share.
All right. They understand this, but it is not part of what they need to know right now.
In regards to the dancing part, is physicality being phased in or out? Are they, because I know you said they're not as physical as physical children, like playing and romping, and so
No.
do they dance?
Sometimes the more, shall we say, advanced ones do, yes. You must understand that more appreciation of physicality is being bred into them. In the later stage hybrids, they will be much more, quote-unquote, humanized in that sense, both physiologically and culturally, yes. They will understand the idea of dancing, and many of them enjoy that, yes. The later stage ones. The early stage ones did not really understand the concept, no.
I know there's so many different groups of them. Are they familiar with hugs and kisses?
Again, many of the later stage ones, yes. Many of the earlier stage ones, no.
Well, what stage am I in?
What do you mean? You are not a hybrid in that sense.
What stage is going on right now?
When we talk about stages, we are talking about stages of hybridization, not stages that you are in. We're talking about the degree
of the
hybridization.
The younger ones would have more of this than the older ones?
In that sense, yes. But there are, again now, in some of the later stages, many different ages. For the late stage has existed for quite some time, and there are older hybrids that are late stage hybrids, even though there are younger new ones as well. Do you understand this?
Yeah. Okay, on to something different.
Oh, yes?
Remember the association game?
Yes?
Fish hooks and balloons.
All right. Are you offering this to us, or are you going to do this yourself?
No, this one's for you.
Fish hooks and balloons. All right. Thank you. A fish hook is used on your planet to catch a fish, which you then pull upward through the water. It rises like a balloon in the air.
Oh, that was stretching it.
Balloons do stretch, yes.
The reason those are pretty far out to come together too, but I remembered part of a dream where there was children and it was like a party. And I'm pretty scared of fish hooks.
All right.
It seemed like I had a gloved hand. I probably made that glove in my hand, and there was fish hooks on my palm.
Yes.
And there was some game of fishing for the balloons with the hooks, but I don't remember any balloons popping or anything.
All right.
And it seemed like a serious endeavor that was going on.
Yes. A very delicate procedure, would it not be? One that would require great precision and delicacy and intentional focus, would it not?
Yeah.
That is what the symbol is for you. The idea in that sense is that the association between fish hooks and balloons is being made very specifically with regard to your particular consciousness and in general for many people about the idea of approaching things with great focus, intention, and precision and delicacy. Do you understand? So that you are not just haphazardly reaching for things, but using great precision to pluck delicate things and allow them to grow, allow them to rise. Do you understand? So that you do not pop or burst your bubble.
I love that idea, and like I said, I didn't hear any of them popping, so that was a good sign.
Yes, that is what tells you that it can be done. But that is what tells you that that is how to do it.
In a game, it was a game,
yeah. Yes, but your life is a game anyway.
Precision more than caution, maybe.
It is not the idea so much of caution as it is focus, intention, and precision, and delicacy. Again, remember, the greatest power requires the lightest touch. You understand? That is what it is a symbol of. The greatest exercise or demonstration of power only requires the lightest of touches. Do you follow?
It's very sweet.
Yes, as are you. That is sufficient. Thank you. Number 3.
Bashar.
And to you, good day.
When you spoke to us once as you were 10 years old.
Yes.
And adorable, and you were going,
all right.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. I ouch because I grow. I grow because I ouch.
Yes.
Which I understand the gist of that, but...
you do or do not?
I do.
All right.
But I was hoping you'd expand on ouch.
It was simply a way that the experience in my reality translated into the simplest possible word in your reality. In that even though there may be experiences you might label as painful, there are things you can always learn from. This does not mean that you must experience pain per se.
That's what I wanted to hear.
But the idea is that you will always experience challenge. You will always experience the idea of needing to become something more, of a type of creative pressure which can be experienced to some degree as pain, but not necessarily exactly in the way that humans have experienced it. It does not have to be suffering. But you can use the idea of this pressure, this creative pain, to grow. You understand that?
Yeah.
And the difference therein? It is somewhat limited by the fact that you do not necessarily have too many words in your language in which to translate this concept. But we think you get the idea.
Thank you.
Now, it is another way also of saying that if you do have pain, no matter what kind, you can still learn from that. Do not run from it. Do not deny it. Do not say with judgment, oh, this should not be happening. It is happening. So if it's happening, it's happening. Use it. Do not run from it. Do not deny it. For if you deny it, you deny a portion of yourself. As painful as that may be to admit. So, if you experience pain, you experience it. Learn from it. You may not necessarily need to experience it that way again. But if you do, again understand, it is how you use it that is more important in a sense than the fact that it occurs that way. Does that make some sense to you?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing.
Sure.
One moment. Yes.
Well, we have other
We, meaning?
We, all of us.
All right, humans, yes.
Humans. We are humanoid in other humanoids, not just humans on planets, on Earth, right? We're humanoid also in other species, right? All
Would
of
you
us.
take a moment to be clearer in what you are asking?
Well, what I want to know is,
Your term, human,
yeah,
is for you as you identify your species on your world. In that sense, you are human.
yeah, we're human.
In what way do you ask the question, are we humanoid? Which simply means human-like.
Right.
This question.
Aren't there other aliens that are humanoid?
Yes, they are human-like, such as ourselves. But then, from our perspective, we might look at you and say, well, you are Sasani-ish. We would not say humanoid. We would say that you are like Sasani. Because we identify with ourselves that way. And would make the comparison to ourselves, as you are making the comparison to your own species, by saying that something looks humanoid. Do you follow that?
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Of course, there are many species that are nothing like you, nor our species at all.
So, that's I want to ask. I have other lives as
Other species. Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them are humanoid, some of them are not.
Some of them are not.
Yes, this goes for all of you.
Oh, okay.
Does that help?
Well, none of them would be animal, right?
Well, in a sense, because consciousness is in everything. And your consciousness can experience itself as anything. And in that sense, yes, some of your experiences might be beings that you would call animal-like, yes. Or animals, yes.
So not on Earth, but
Yes,
beyond
yes, on Earth, yes.
Okay.
Why not?
All right. Well, what animal have I been then?
More than one?
Yeah.
By this time, you will usually find that all of you have been everything. Every kind that there is and has been. Do you understand?
I've been a dog.
Yes. But again, remember, this is not necessarily understood through third-dimensional mechanics in the way that you might think. It is not a reincarnational idea, because there is no real thing as reincarnation. There is only multiple simultaneous incarnations and expressions of consciousness of the whole. In that sense, what you are connected to as a human, what you are connected to as a consciousness, is also experiencing itself as many different animal forms, simultaneously as it is experiencing itself as a human. So it isn't you that have been a dog because you are you. The you call yourself as a physical person has never been a dog because you are a physical human person. But the you that is consciousness that creates the physical person that I am now talking to is also a dog, a cat, and many other things. Does that make more sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Does that help then?
So the you that I am is been everything in the universe?
Is everything, not has been.
Yeah, right.
Yes, because there is only one.
Okay.
Does that help?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day. Number 2, do you know who you are? Yes. All right, thank you.
I have several questions, but you can tell me to stop when I've had enough.
Oh, have no worry, I will.
I had a similar question that Antoinette did about the energy being different.
Yes. Do you mean ours?
Yes. Now,
Yes.
my perception was I thought you were younger. But now, did you say
you.
150? Did you say 157?
257.
Oh, okay, 257. Oh,
Yes.
okay, that explains it. All right. Excuse me.
How does that explain it?
Oh, because I thought you said 157, and that didn't seem much different between the average between 150 and 170.
Yes.
That wasn't logical. So
All right.
my question is, why are you doing this tonight?
Because this is what is necessary. It is not something that I sat down and said, I think I will do it this way. This is what comes through for the energy that is present, for the needs that are required. This is the intersection of all synchronicities this day of your time.
Okay.
There are reasons for it, but they are not necessarily things I had to sit down and intentionally and consciously choose to do.
Okay.
Because I allow the flow to occur naturally and spontaneously and synchronistically, this is what has come. And this is what I find myself talking to you now, as myself as I am here in my own understanding of myself in this day and age. This is who I find myself talking to now.
Okay. Well, I find myself talking to you too, so...
Yes.
I watched a video the other night of another well-known channeled entity. And this entity was talking about, creating our own reality from... It was sort of a technical analysis of the brain.
All right, technical analysis of the brain.
And it was talking about the way you do this is to get a pure thought into the midbrain.
All right.
And the outer brain has a tendency to analyze, put time frame, judgments, and so forth, and things like that. So I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is good, and then, so tell me how you do this.
Right.
So finally, the entity base explained this, and my take on what this entity said was basically, it's just a matter of willpower, of bringing that thought back, continually bringing the thought back, and the longer you're able to hold your consciousness on a thought, the more tendency is you're going to create the reality that you desire.
And how did that sit with you, that explanation?
Well, that sounded good to me. I just wondered if you had any...
Sounds good to me too.
Okay. You don't have any expanding or any comment on that other than it's...
I'm not certain that you want me to have. Because if I give you what I have, it may not sound so good to you anymore. Are you sure you don't want it to continue to sound good?
I want to sound good?
Are you sure you don't want this idea to continue to sound as good as it sounds to you now? Do you want this idea to continue? This technique that you have seen on this video?
If there's something that is more quote-unquote correct...
For you?
Yes, then
no.
Okay.
Sounds good to me now.
Okay, great.
For you now. If that is what you feel, it sounds good to you now, sounds good to me too.
Okay.
And it is correct for you now.
Okay.
It will change.
Mm-hmm.
But it's correct for you now.
Right now. Okay, great.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Oh, thank you. Number 2. Are you done?
No.
Oh, all right.
I have, in terms of sort of creating our preferred reality,
Yes.
I have gotten from several different sources the importance of stating the preference or the request verbally.
All right. Why do you think that might be so?
Well, that was actually kind of being my question. One source said so that your biology can hear it.
Yes, in a sense. But that's not enough.
My thinking is that If all it is knows everything, if my higher self,
Yes.
or if I'm doing the creating and I know it,
Yes.
if I make the thoughts clear in my mind,
Yes.
what value is it in just speaking it verbally?
All right. May I give you an example?
Yes.
Let us say that you want to meet me tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. on the corner of X and Y streets.
Right.
Well, if you keep it to yourself and don't say it out loud, I might not be there when you want me to. Do you get the point of this analogy?
Well, I don't think it's a good analogy.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you. I will tell you how it is. What you are doing by verbalizing it, this is just an explanation of why sometimes it is important in your reality for the verbalization of these things. I'm just explaining it to you.
Yes.
Is because what you're doing is you're making a commitment. Because in your reality, many of you, it is not really as strong a commitment if you actually don't say it. Because if you don't say it, you can back out. Because if you don't tell me that you're going to be on the corners of X and Y streets at 3 p.m., you can change your mind, you can back out, because I may not show up. But if you tell me, then you know, unless you call me then and tell me you're changing, you have committed. You have to be there. You have to show up. That's the difference. Stating it to you, to most humans, because of the way you are wired, makes it more of a commitment. I'll give you another analogy. Maybe this one will seem more appropriate to you.
Okay.
Many of the relationships on your planet, we hear the different people in the relationship saying one to the other, well, I never actually hear you say, I love you. And the other one says, well, you know I love you. Why do I have to say it? Well,
Yeah.
why?
They just like to hear it.
No. Why isn't the person saying it? Because they're not committed. You understand? I'm not saying this is true in every case, but in the majority of cases on your planet, this would be true. A person who simply does not, in a relationship, if they truly do love someone, say they love them, tell them they love them, usually they do not have the commitment. This is usually the case. I'm speaking in generalities, but I think you get the point.
Yes. Yes, I do.
For what would be the reason for not saying it? You understand?
It would be evident in everything else that is done.
But why leave that out? That's the point. That's the question. Why leave that out? Why leave out the obvious? Why leave out the easy, surface thing? The representation. Because it is exactly that. It is the representation of the commitment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if that is left out, then in some senses the person is not committed. So, that is simply what is going on when you make a statement. You are vibrationally intonating. In a sense, literally conjuring. You follow?
Yes.
It is the abracadabra of vibrational tonality. Remember, in the beginning was the Word.
Right. Okay.
That's why that phrase is there. Because then it is a commitment. In your reality, in many cases, that's how it works. I understand that there are circumstances and situations in which nothing needs to be said because the actions say it all. But the point is that why stop at one level? Why not commit on every level so that you know you have left nothing out, so that you know it is a total commitment? You follow?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you then?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Another
Yes.
short one.
Yes.
Totally different.
All right.
In regards to the UFO that are not unidentified anymore, but the craft that I saw in November,
Yes.
and the beautiful and bright lights, I was thinking later,
Yes.
why all these lights? It's almost if they're advertising those, they sure don't need those lights to shine down on anything during the middle of the day.
No, not always, but you must understand that sometimes those lights see things you cannot. And sometimes they're not exactly what you understand as lights.
Well, my take on this was the light was just sort of a manifestation or a residual of something else going on.
Yes, there is something else going on sometimes. Sometimes they are just lights, but sometimes they are not. And sometimes they exist for the same reasons that you have lights on your airplanes. It just helps a little bit better to see them. In that sense, navigationally. But they also perform different functions than just lights. Sometimes they actually are used in navigation. They actually are sensors in that sense. But they serve triple, quadruple, many, many duties.
Okay.
But one of the side effects is that they are light sensors.
Okay, that's good.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now then, number 2.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Bashar, when I talked to you last week, the week preceding that, I had 3 sightings. And when you confirmed that for me, I was so surprised that I forgot to ask you. I really probably shouldn't be surprised because...
No shoulds, no shouldn'ts.
Okay.
Just asking why.
Well, because I believe that they've probably been up there all the time just because I finally noticed them.
Oh, all right. Well, not all the time.
A lot of the time?
Some of the time.
Okay. Okay. And just because I finally noticed them doesn't mean they hadn't been there many other times.
That is understood. What is your question?
Were you trying to tell me something? I mean, 3 sightings?
I never try to tell anybody anything. If I tell you, I tell you.
Okay,
However, there are sometimes things that I will say that will be for other reasons other than what may be apparent.
I see.
That doesn't mean I'm trying to tell you something.
Okay.
It simply is being offered to you to see if you will pick up something else.
Okay.
It is not my agenda to try to tell anybody anything.
Thank you.
But I will incorporate all the information possible. It is simply that sometimes some of the information I incorporate is not necessarily for me to say blatantly, but for you to pick up subtly.
Okay.
As in, it's always been there. But maybe you just heard it for the first time. Like the UFOs you say you saw. That might always have been there, but you just noticed them.
Exactly.
So there's a good analogy across the board.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Well, the point I guess I wanted to make was when I brought that to the attention, a couple of people mentioned to me that I should look at that more in depth, that I was just skirting around the edges.
If you wish, it's up to you.
Well,
I've already told you it is up to you to determine what this information means for you. Okay. Only you.
Okay.
Only you are the one to listen to yourself.
Okay.
You can listen to other people's advice, but do not let them judge you.
Thank you.
And do not let them assume for you what it is that is going on with you,
okay,
or what the information you are told means.
Okay. Also,
Yes?
was that not perhaps yours specifically, but from your civilization?
One.
The ships that just
one.
And the other 2?
One.
And the other 2? I don't understand.
Means I'm not talking right now.
Bashar, you had suggested to me approximately, I think, several weeks ago, you suggested to me that I look into the abductee phenomena.
I did do that.
And then last week you made what I felt was a rather qualifying statement regarding some thoughts I was having toward it, and you pointed me into another direction.
Yes.
And when I've been reading the information, because looking into that to me means to obtain information regarding a matter so I can better understand it.
Yes.
And the reading that I had been doing seems to be primarily experiential.
Yes.
And
do you mean experiential accounts?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Yes.
Yes. And it's been very, very frightening.
And why do you think that might be?
Because because I would think that
what would you think?
Situation like that for anyone would be scary.
But why do you think you are frightened? Is it connecting you to something, be it that kind of situation or another kind of situation? Obviously something is being triggered or you wouldn't be frightened. You're obviously relating to something, be it that kind or some other kind of situation. There is something similar that you have experienced that frightens you.
I see. Not that I can call to my conscious mind.
No, I understand that.
That I can't share with you at this
moment. No, I understand that.
Okay, but when I read it, what I think happens with most humans, we put ourselves in that person's place. You think, oh my God, what if that would happen to me? Or what if that has happened to me? Or what have you? But it causes fear, primarily, I think.
Not to the degree that you are experiencing it without having had some experience that triggers it.
Okay.
the projection, the anticipation, the imagination that you might be afraid in a situation like that does not usually feel as visceral for humans without actually having some experience to back it up in some way, shape, or form, whether it's that literal kind of experience or something similar.
Then could you clarify for me what it is I'm reacting to that I can't call to mind?
No, not with the group present.
Okay. How should I approach that then?
In the way that you're going about it.
Right now?
Just do your own research and see what gets triggered and take note of what gets triggered, specifically in terms of what category of thing triggers what kind of feeling.
Okay.
Write it down, notice the patterns, and see if the patterns start giving you a clue as to what kind of thing is going on and being triggered within you.
I think I could shed a little light on that now.
You don't have to do it now.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Does this help you?
Yes.
Now, one other thing.
Okay.
When you go to sleep,
okay,
ask for some assistance.
And understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
All right? Because there are those who are willing to help you with this.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Pleasant dreams.
Okay.
Sure. Are you done?
No, I'd like to ask you another question.
All right.
I need to I feel that there are...
You are next. Then the male. Number 2, do you know who you are? All right.
Okay. I feel that there are some matters in relationships that I'm having great difficulty in resolving. They've been going on the similar...
Such as? Are you talking about the idea of personal relation or business relation? What?
Particularly, I'm speaking of my relationship with money.
Oh, all right.
And,
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. What is it you need to resolve or feel you need to resolve with your relationship to the idea of money?
I never seem to have enough.
Enough for what?
Everything I want to do.
Well, you're not doing everything yet.
Correct.
Well, then?
But everything that I'm trying to do now, I don't have enough money for.
Well, are you sure you're actually doing it?
No.
Well, then, maybe when you actually start doing things, you will have enough.
Okay.
Are you understanding what I'm saying? There are many things that you think.
Okay.
Or, please do not take this unkindly. There are many things you, in a sense, are pretending that you are doing, but you're not really doing wholeheartedly.
Oh.
You're not really opening up and taking advantage of the opportunities that you really could be, or even creating the opportunities that you could be creating. And so in that sense, because you are not going full speed ahead in something that you say you want to go full speed ahead in, not acting on every opportunity that you could be, then you are the one determining the level at which you experience support in that area. You are creating yourself to be torn. You are focused on saying, I want to do this, yet you're not fully doing that. And that means that you're not also fully doing then whatever it is you are doing.
Okay.
Correct. So you are creating a limbo state.
Yeah.
A limbo state needs absolutely no monetary support to exist.
Oh.
It's just limbo. Anyone can afford limbo. You have more than enough money to be in limbo. As soon as you start to move in a particular direction by your actions, thoughts, words, and deeds, and they're all aligned and harmonized, and you really show by your actions and by your words that you are moving in that direction, then you will be in the natural state vibrationally to allow situations and circumstances and opportunities to flow to you more obviously and more abundantly to support you in those endeavors. But only until such action is taken, only then can those things open up. Only when you are willing to take those steps and make those leaps without waiting, then the support will be there, because the support is already there.
Okay.
Does that make some sense to you?
Yes.
But?
Limbo is just what it is. I mean, it's very difficult to move toward the direction
That's
that
the definition.
Correct.
Limbo is not difficult in and of itself.
Okay.
The definition you have of limbo says it is difficult to move in any particular direction. Do you want a different definition of limbo?
Yes.
Then go ahead and make one right now. What would be a different definition of limbo that wouldn't make it difficult to move in the direction you prefer? Go on, come on, I know you can do it. This is a good example of using your faculties in the way that I mean for you to use them.
Okay.
So right now, here it is. Use your faculties and create a definition of limbo that works for you as opposed to one that does not.
Okay.
Well, got it?
I think so.
Well, go ahead. What is it? State it out loud. Make the commitment.
I think I just need to take some large steps in the direction that I want to go and stop holding back.
Well, all right. Is that part of your definition of limbo?
Well, yeah.
Give me the definition. The new definition of limbo. That is a definition that works for you in positive and constructive ways.
I'm not sure there is one for limbo.
You're not?
No.
So, where's your imagination?
My imagination is acting and writing and creating things and...
Writing and creating things. And you are telling me that you cannot create a definition for limbo? You cannot write a definition for limbo, and yet you say that your talent is in writing and creating things? I haven't seen the example yet.
All right, I'll have to write you an example.
I want you to speak one now. Speak a definition of limbo that is positive and constructive and allows you to move in the direction you prefer. Right now.
Okay, I'm not working in the...
This is your audition, you know.
Okay, I'm not working in the area I'd like to be, but I'm working to sustain myself so I can move into the direction I would like to be working.
I want a definition of limbo that is positive and constructive and allows you to move in the direction that you prefer.
I don't understand what you want me to say.
If you don't understand what I am saying, no offense, but is it any wonder that you cannot understand why you are not flowing abundance to yourself?
Okay, no offense taken.
Because what I am saying is very clear, but you're not paying attention.
That's true.
I'm going to give you, through the kindness and generosity of the universe, some assistance in this.
Thank you.
All right? Definition of limbo. Limbo is a state where I am not locked down to anything, and therefore I can move in any direction I so choose. Easily and effortlessly because I'm not locked down to anything. How's that for a positive definition of limbo? Yes? No?
Pretty good. Yeah, that's excellent.
Then why could you not come up with that?
Because as you were speaking, my mind went back to my original question. I was having a little trouble shaking the fear that I continue to deal with regarding
And why was that?
I just feel affected by it because of the readings, and
Stop dwelling on the past.
I am dwelling on the past. That's
Stop.
the problem.
Stop.
That's easy to say.
Yes, it is. I'll say it again. Stop.
That's easy to say, too.
Yes. But you know why it's not easy to do?
Not exactly.
I'll tell you.
But I've been obsessed with it.
I'll tell you.
Tell me.
You know why it's not easy to stop?
No.
Because you don't want to.
Oh.
Remember, everything you do for a reason. No matter what it is, if you're doing it or you're not stopping doing something, it's because you have a definition that motivates you to continue to choose it, because your definition says that to continue to choose it gives you a payoff, gives you a benefit bigger than any other benefit you can imagine from choosing something else. So the reason you don't stop is because you don't want to.
I never looked at it like that, Bashar.
Now you can.
Okay.
And when you change your definition of what it is you're doing, believe me, you'll instantaneously be motivated to choose something else.
Okay, Bashar, I want to ask you one more question.
Oh, all right.
Okay, regarding the readings.
Readings?
That I've been doing.
Yes.
To familiarize myself.
Yes.
You said not to dwell on the past.
Yes.
May I assume that what is concerning me so much is in the past?
In some senses. However, you have all the criteria and all the ability you need in the present to choose whatever you wish to be now. The point actually is that you know that, but you also know that if you simply choose to be who you are, whatever it is you don't want to face in the past that gives you so much fear, you will have to look at.
That's true.
Well then.
Okay,
But it's all right if you do. It's all right if it comes up. You'll be able to get through it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Don't be afraid to face the fear. Won't stop you. If you learn to use it, learn to work with it, by knowing that it's just there to tell you something you want to know about yourself so that you can integrate it in a positive and constructive way, you won't be afraid to feel it. So stop being afraid to feel the fear. Just move ahead. Move through it.
All right. Now, you were suggesting that I ask for help assistance before I go to sleep.
Yes.
In this matter.
Yes.
And
this is where you will be given assistance. Assistance in understanding that it's all right to be afraid. It won't stop you from doing anything. Do you like what you call on your planet amusement park rides?
No.
Roller coasters?
No.
All right. Then here you go. My prescription for you is to go and ride one.
Not a chance.
Oh, yes. Every chance in the world. You'll be surprised.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
I can't get on.
Yes, you can.
No way.
Yes, you can.
No way.
Yes, you can.
For
Oh,
sure.
all right. Wait a minute. I'll tell you something. I'll agree with you. You can't. But you, the one I'm talking to now, won't be the one going on the roller coaster. The one that goes on the roller coaster can. She can. If you want to be her, you can be.
Why do I want to go on a roller coaster? I don't
Because
like
you
roller
want
coasters.
to be her. It's not the point to go on the roller coaster. The point is you want to be the you that can go on the roller coaster. That's who you want to be. And the help you will be given is learning to become her. And when you become her, you will not be afraid of roller coasters and also what the fear of getting on a roller coaster represents to you now. End of discussion. Pleasant dreams.
Not likely.
You will be surprised. Number 2. Surprise. Number 2.
Greetings from down under, Bashar.
Discussion. Number 2.
Greetings from down under, Bashar.
Down under what?
From Australia.
Oh, all right, yes. Remember that is all relative.
Yes, I know. But there are many people there who do send their love.
Oh, all right, thank you. Love in return.
Good, thank you. Could I ask 2 questions, please?
Well, that was one. You've just used it up.
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Well, I'll ask...
You don't have to ask if you can ask,
yes,
is
okay.
the point.
Yes, that's right.
Yes?
With regard to what the last lady was talking about,
Yes?
I have a daughter. She's 30 years of age now, but
Yes?
she has had interaction with and detainments since she was 4.
Yes?
She has had physical interaction and interdimensional interaction.
Yes?
She has a hybrid child.
Yes? Just one?
Well, one that she has been taken to see.
Oh, all right.
I think maybe
One that
more
she
than
knows
one.
of.
I don't know. She is now pregnant again, and she will give birth physically to this child. She
You mean on Earth?
Yes,
All
and
right. I assume she knows how she got that way.
yes, she does.
Oh, right,
but
thank
she
you.
still does feel that there has been very strong intervention in this.
In some senses, yes.
Yes, and she's wishing to provide for that child. She's taking it. She's swimming with the dolphins. She's doing all sorts of
all
things,
right.
and she's wishing to give this child to be a wonderful welcome into the world. And
Yes.
really, I suppose what I'm asking you is there any confirmation that it's possible that there is an ET strain in this?
Oh, yes, this is true for almost every child being born on your planet
right.
now. It is not just a new generation, as we have said for some time, but a new species, yes.
Okay.
Still, there is no reason not to be unconditionally loving to the children that are born to you.
Yes. Okay, thank
For
you.
this is what they have chosen for their own incarnation.
Right.
Does that help you?
It does, thank you. Could you tell me what part of the universe may be this strain?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask you now about what's happening in Iraq?
You can ask anything you want. Whether I will tell you is another matter.
Would you be able to explain what is happening?
Well, can you be specific?
What?
There are many things happening in the area on your planet that you call Iraq.
Yes. Well, okay, I hope I don't sound a bit simple, but I've noticed since being in this country for the last 3 weeks, the entire focus in the news has been on the affairs of President Clinton and the girl. And it seems to me like it's a full-on blanket of attention on this when all the time something is happening in Iraq, and right at this moment they have the Prime Minister of England here along with the President.
Right.
It feels to me there's something much bigger going on.
Yes.
And it feels to me as if the entire population has been given a blanket on the news to do with this Monica, whatever her name is, and so on.
Well, not really by their choice.
No. But I just don't understand. Could you give me a greater overview on exactly what...
Do you mean, is there a covert operation being planned to remove someone from their life? Yes.
Okay, could you elaborate on that, please?
No.
Okay.
Do you understand what I am saying?
Is that Saddam Hussein you mean?
Yes. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Yeah, I suppose I'm open to hearing anything, but...
Oh, all right. It is being discussed. It is not yet being seriously considered, but it is being discussed. Let us say out of about 3 possibilities, it is having a high degree of consideration. but it has not yet been decided.
Okay, thank you very much, Bashar.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
It is connected, of course, to many other things that will unfold or are unfolding around your world, since your world is now interconnected in a very strong way, more than it used to be. It is connected to the potential of many other kinds of events that may or may not yet unfold.
Will there be a third world war?
No, not as such. But there still is a great possibility for what you would call an isolated terrorist nuclear strike.
Is this encoded in the Bible?
It is.
So
as are all probabilities in every ancient text that exists on your planet if you know how to read them.
So if we were to... so would this be in the encoding of the Bible, the book that's out at the moment?
Yes. But it is a probability, not a certainty.
Okay.
What's the percentage probability?
Of the isolated terrorist nuclear strike now?
Yes.
98. Coinciding with your year.
Where?
This is yet to be determined. It may be in what you call your Middle East. It may be in what you call one of your eastern seaboard American cities.
When?
The most likely window of opportunity will be between what you would call March of your present year and March of the next year.
Is President Clinton and others aware that this is...
They are aware of the possibility and the potentiality. There exists at present a few small, minor clues that would allow them to understand that it may be more imminent than they think, but they haven't seen these clues yet. They haven't picked up on the idea that these are indicators that it could be more serious than they think. They're always prepared for the possibility. They know that for a fact, that it is likely to happen. But there are actually now a few small clues that specifically indicate when and where such a thing might now be being thought of or carried out or planned. Again, if such a thing does come to pass, as we have said, even though the likelihood now may seem high in terms of what you call your odds, if it does occur, it will still create such a shockwave through your culture, over your whole planet, that no such thing will ever occur again. Ever. 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 It does not have to occur. Even at 98%, it doesn't have to occur.
Right.
But if it does, it will never occur again.
Right.
Because it will change many things. Many, many things. But that is as we read the energy now, for any such thing as a prediction is no prediction of the future, but only a sensing of the energy that exists at the time the prediction is made. And if that changes, the prediction is moot. But that is the energy we read right now in this latest, as you would say, barometer reading. Does that help you?
Thank you very much. One more question.
All right.
Why did Princess Diana die?
Well, as we have said to some degree, the tandem connection of what you call your princess and your Mother Teresa is because they represent in general the idea of your relationship to humanity, what you call humanitarian practices, the nurturing of, the assisting of, the helping of others. They were two strong symbols, and still are two strong symbols of that attitude and that relationship of being active and being helping. In that they have taken themselves out of physical existence, they have now left it up to the rest of you to incorporate that ideal within yourself, and not just to let them do it, but to do it yourselves. They have shown you the idea, and now they say, you're on your own. I'm out of here. I have given you enough example. Now you must be the example. You will see more and more of this. Peace will accelerate. This idea will accelerate. More and more that have set the stage and lived as examples of the kinds of things that need to be done in all of you. More of those individuals will take themselves out.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help you?
Very much so. Can I ask one more question?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to give it a go. We've just done 3 weeks courses at the Monroe Institute in Virginia.
Yes.
And are you familiar with what they do there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Somebody there, Bruce and David and Laurie Munro, who's the daughter of Robert Munro there,
right.
are experimenting now with a machine.
Yes.
The electromagnetic field.
Yes.
It is a machine set up. It's ready now, just about ready now, to be used with. It's going to sound a bit weird, but those who have passed, those who have passed over, instead of communicating through a medium.
Let me just stop you here.
Computer. Okay.
More and more individuals on your planet are beginning to experiment with different devices that will eventually be able to allow them to fine-tune this process and find that they can, in fact, learn how to either, one medium or another, sound or sight, electromagnetically communicate with people that have died. Yes, this will start to come about very strongly, especially within the next 5 to 10 years. But these kinds of things, along with other such devices, are the beginnings, yes. Some of them will be successful, but there needs to be some fine-tuning. But many people are on the right track, yes. But this will, in time, be commonplace.
These people were just on
That's
the
it.
verge. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very
The
much.
mail.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
My question has to do with the relationship between choice and commitment and who I really am. And my experience is that I don't know where choices and commitment come from.
They come from you. Choices come from your motivation. Motivation comes from your definition. That's it. That's it. That's it. What you were taught to define something to be, whatever definition you were taught to put into something, determines the motivation for choosing that idea, that experience. That's it.
But I can't locate the actual chooser. I am having a difficult time.
You are the chooser. What are you talking about?
Well, who am I? See, I guess what I want to know is,
yes.
You talk about the higher self being made of light.
We are talking about colloquial terminology that many people on your planet utilize. But if you find that terminology only adds to lack of clarity, don't use it. Right. You are you. You know who you are experientially by allowing yourself to feel the idea that is most often translated in your culture as unconditional love, excitement, joy, creativity. Those vibrations are the energy that you are. Anything then that you do that is in alignment, anything that you choose that is most in alignment, most harmonious with the highest expression of feelings of unconditional love, joy, creativity, and excitement will be most aligned with who you are. Does that make some sense?
It makes sense to a point, but the point that I'm having difficulty understanding experientially, and I'm closing my eyes so I can phrase this carefully.
Oh, all right.
It's a hard question because
if you say so.
I want to know. I'm having a difficult time when you say I make the choices. The I that you are pointing to or talking to is an I that I'm having very difficulty locating. So I don't know who's making the choices. I don't even know who's talking right now. It just seems to be happening.
When you say you don't know who's talking,
right?
Can you be more specific about what you mean by that uncertainty?
Well, that's why I close my eyes, because my ability to recognize who I really am is not very. I know who I'm not, but I don't.
Oh, why will that the start?
I've identified I'm not the body, and I've identified.
That's where you're getting into trouble.
Okay.
You are acting like a surgeon, attempting to cut away everything until you finally leave that little essential something that you assume is going to be you.
Right.
In some senses, you can have that experience, but you're going to be in for a big surprise. If and when you do give yourself that experience, you're going to find out once you arrive at that point that everything you cut away was also you. And that it actually hasn't been cut away, but only been transformed to allow you to have the experience of yourself as the little piece that's left.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all you. There is nothing. Are you paying attention?
I'm paying very strict attention.
All right, strict attention. All right, strict attention.
He's got me nailed.
There is nothing ever that you can experience that isn't you. What do you think about that?
I like that.
It's all you. It's just you in different forms. Now, if you want to experience you as the remnant, essential essence, after having cut away other ideas of yourself, that's fine. But that's just one experience of you. The body is also an experience of you. Anything else you can imagine in any other way to experience is also you. There is nothing you can experience that is not some version, some expression, some experience of you. Because there is only one thing you are, and that's you. There is no way to experience anything but you. Because you are the only thing that exists. Does that make some sense?
The you that you speak of is...
Any version you want to call yourself is still a version of you.
As you are a version of me.
Yes, as you are a version of me. It's all you. Anything you experience is you. You are all that is. I am all that is. Anything I experience is me. Everything I experience is me. This doesn't discount that others are having experiences. It's this and that, not this or that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, I understand that.
Yes. It's all you. Any way your imagination can come up to concoct it, it's still you. It still has to be made out of you. You're the only thing you have to work with in your reality. You're the only thing that exists in it. In fact, your reality is you. You're not even in it. It is you. It's in you. Any experience is an experience of yourself in some fashion, in some modality. It cannot be otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Does this make any sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and it might not answer my question, but it answers a bigger question, so thank you.
All right. In what way do you think it does not answer your question?
Well, I don't feel like my question is so important to me right now.
Well, maybe then it has answered it.
Right, maybe it has. Yeah.
The idea really is that anything that you imagine as an experience is simply what you're doing as a way of relating to yourself. It's a way of experiencing yourself. Doesn't matter how you do it. You are the body, you are the spirit, you are the soul, you are the mind, you are the essence, you are the consciousness, you are existence, you are.
Am I also attachment and suffering?
Everything. There is no concept that exists outside of you. Every concept, every experience is made from you, made out of you. It cannot be otherwise. There is nothing else. Does this help?
Yes, it helps.
All right then.
Thank you.
Our love to you.
Bashar.
You. Then you.
Yes.
Number 2, do you know who you are?
Yes.
Number 3.
Okay.
All right. Number 1.
Hello.
And to you, good day.
I've never been here before, so perhaps I'm asking a question that you've addressed before.
One moment.
Okay.
Number 4.
Thank you.
All right.
I wonder if you could talk about how human beings first came to live on the earth, and
All right.
also what physical proof or evidences still remains undiscovered of that, if that even applies after you answer the first
All right.
question.
Thank you. Yes, we have discussed this in many ways. Now, first of all, of course, again, speaking colloquially, understand that you are consciousness, and that the idea of human being is more a reference to the idea of the physical expression and not just the idea of consciousness. For the consciousness exists, whether it is human or not. But the vehicle, so to speak, as you call it, again, all this is colloquial. You following along with this?
Yes.
The vehicle you call the human expression of consciousness basically has existed in stages over time of what you call millions of years. But at one point, somewhere about, give or take, as you say, somewhere about 500 to 700,000 of your years ago, there was what you would call an intervention of other beings that recognize the hominid life form that existed on your planet as being viable material for genetic alteration. You follow that?
Yes.
This genetic alteration was made using material from their own DNA, thus then creating specifically, or moving evolution more specifically, in the direction you now recognize as Homo sapien. Do you follow that?
Yes.
This was to some degree finalized, in essence, in its most general form, about 50,000 of your years ago, though there have been some small alterations that have occurred since due to the programming that is already in the DNA material. At about 30,000 of your years, another alteration occurred. At about 10,000 of your years, another alteration occurred. And another alteration occurred about 2,000 of your years ago. And another alteration is occurring now. To continue the process of allowing the human experience to become more capable of expressing more of the consciousness that has decided to express itself as human. Now, the creation of this human vehicle doesn't mean that the consciousness you hold yourself to be only came into existence then. Your consciousness has always existed. You follow that? Yes. What we're speaking of is a linear time frame perspective to answer your question in a very literal way. Does that make some sense?
Exactly, yes.
All right. Is that sufficient?
I was wondering also who these other beings were and what they looked like.
The idea is that these particular beings were similar, which is why you are similar to them, to the form, the structure, which is why human and these beings, which were ancient Lyrans from that star system you have named Lyra, but which in ancient texts that you call Sanskrit are referred to as Anunnaki. You follow me?
Yes.
These were what you would call human-like beings, much larger in stature in general than your human form at present. But it is from their genetic strain that the human traits derived when imprinted and impressed upon the early hominid species that was similar enough for them to use, similar enough for them to integrate with. Does that make some sense?
Yes.
There are a few artifacts, writings, tablets, a few artifacts that remain, some of which have even been discovered but are not understood for what they are, that represent this time frame, this early time frame of about 500,000 of your years ago. One such artifact, which you may or may not be familiar with, are small, tiny metal spheres that have grooved lines in them. Are you familiar with these?
No.
These small metal spheres, dull, metallic in color, similar in size to what you now would call a large ball bearing, have small grooves in their equator round about their circumference, usually 3 grooves, sometimes can be different. These are remnants of devices, spent energy cells from some devices of ancient alien origin. And as the culture on your planet in ancient times, in Lemuria and Atlantis, also learned these technologies and utilized some similar such devices, some of them are from that too. Does this help answer your question?
Yes, actually it brought up another question.
Yes?
I saw in my mind's eye a round ball bearing like you described,
yes,
rolling around inside a kind of like a track, a circular track.
Yes.
And when it rolled around, it created a tremendous amount of energy and a vibrational sound that created a wave of bliss to whoever was
Very
near
good.
it.
Well, it's more than a wave of bliss. That was in some senses a side effect that you are feeling, but it set up certain vibrations that did in fact actually impart energy to many different kinds of devices. Yes. You are actually in some senses remembering this. Yes.
And these are yet undiscovered?
As we have said, these little spheres, some little spheres have been discovered, but their use is unknown.
Might you be able to direct me to the ones that might have not been discovered yet?
You may find several in your South American region, in the areas you know as Venezuela and Peru and Ecuador. And there are artifacts also in the excavation that have yet to be discovered that has been named Tijuanaco, also in your Central and South American areas. That is all for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the next.
Hi, Bashar.
And a good day.
All of this activity that's going on in the political world
Aisha.
and in our society.
Political activity.
Yes. I've been feeling it very intensely. Like suddenly consciousness became very focused on what's happening outside in that sense.
Outside what?
Well, as opposed to sort of being focused within.
Oh, I see. All right. You have eyes upon the world.
Yeah.
All right.
And one of the things that affected me was the woman in Texas that they decided to kill.
Yes.
Even though she had, I mean, in my opinion, she had transformed great darkness into great light.
Yes. All right. And
so? I kept getting this image like somebody taking a golden retriever at the pound and killing it. You know, it just seemed...
That is how you relate to it symbolically then? The idea that service was put to death.
Yeah.
Potential service was put to death.
Yeah.
All right.
And also the idea of the rigidity of and the motives of the beings that chose to do that.
Well, your
without
society
mercy
has gotten to a point, has brought itself to a point, where if you are not, to begin with, willing to understand what needs to be done in order that individuals are raised to not make the choices that that individual made, then for fear that you must face a lot of things within yourselves you don't want to face, rather than look at that and change the society, you will simply do what seems expedient and remove from your sight the reminder that things need to change in the structure of your society and how you teach people about their empowerment.
Yeah, I felt... I just,
you understand?
Yeah, I think that's why I felt so disturbed by it.
No, all right. What are you going to do about that? How are you going to use that disturbing?
I don't know. I mean, it's on top of a million things, you know, so...
On top of a million things. It's up to you.
Yeah, I know, because it does. It runs through me, and it was more the callousness and the lack of mercy, the lack of humanity. And I felt like I'm part of this race.
It is distinctly human.
It's distinctly human. It just seemed creepy to do such a thing.
That is distinctly human, too.
Oh, and then all of these other activities that are going on, like the issue of Clinton and his integrity, and the issue of what's going on in the Middle East, and I'm symbolically trying to understand, like the issue that Clinton is revealing to the collective.
Yes.
What is he telling us by his behavior and our reaction to it? What are...
You don't understand the connection. The connection is responsibility. If each and every one of you will understand the concept more deeply of responsibility, then many of these things will never have occurred. Whether they actually occurred or not, the discussion of them, the experience of them in different levels, will no longer be a part of your society when everyone accepts the responsibility for who they are and the power that is within each to be the fullest being they can be. These things will not come up.
Well, what about the idea like power is the ultimate aphrodisiac is a very common
thing
that we see here.
That's an idea.
And this sort of split attitude that human beings have about this, like they go, oh, that's terrible, and then like underneath
Do you not understand that these are simply, again, more variations, more definitions, and the definitions that you buy into create your reality? That's all this is. More and more opportunity to examine the definitions you have all bought into, to decide for yourselves whether you want to continue to buy into them or not. For only in changing the initial definitions will you change the outcomes.
Well, and here it's connected with maybe an act of war.
Yes, well.
So there's sort of this connection with violence also.
Well, of course.
And lack of...
Has this not been part and parcel of your history? That your definitions have led you to the idea that the only way to resolve things is through violence? It doesn't have to be that way. You all know it doesn't have to be that way.
Well,
but are those not the results of the definitions that you generally accept as a society to be true?
Well, I feel so uncomfortable with it that...
Well, then do something about it.
Well, I do by transforming myself.
And transforming yourself means taking actions that are representative of the transformation you say you have undertaken. In other words, to put it simply, becoming involved. Not taking responsibility for others, but being responsible to others. By being yourself, becoming involved, participating creatively in whatever way, shape, or form your imagination comes up with.
Well, I talked about it in my classes.
There you go. You
so
see?
that I gave people
Not so
an
difficult.
Opportunity to explore it.
All right, that's one way. Any other way that comes up to you to participate and be intimately involved?
I don't know if I'm that interested in being intimately involved.
You are intimately involved.
Except that this is obviously an aspect of my consciousness, right? If I'm watching...
Are you on Earth?
This, yes.
You're intimately involved. Period. There's no other way to say it. Are you alive on Earth? Yes, you're intimately involved. Can't get out of that. You see, what you are expressing, and I know you don't really mean it, but what you are expressing is exactly the avoidance of responsibility that got you all where you are. I don't want to be intimately involved.
It looks like it's so incredible to transform that. Like
I am not saying you have to look at it as a big rock that you're rolling uphill like your mythological Sisyphus. I am simply saying that if you do your part, one person makes more of a difference than you might think because you're all connected. Haven't you learned this yet in all the times we have been talking about the fact that every change is a total change?
That's why I focus on transforming myself.
I understand that, but don't stop.
With that.
Don't hold yourself back.
Well, I'll find something creative.
Of course you will. And the things that you find that are germane for you will not be a chore. Well, because they're germane for you.
I'm even paying attention, so there
you are.
All
right, there you are. Does that help?
Yeah. Another thing that's come up is I've been exploring claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia?
Yeah, because I have it and a friend of mine has it, and she had an attack of it recently.
All right.
So we started exploring.
Was she attacked by a small room?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, my God. She got locked in her office, and that's what stimulated it for her.
Yes.
So as we started exploring it, we realized that I'm sure there's a connection with breathing with it. However, the real focus is on being trapped.
Yes.
And that the actual conjuring up of a physical idea of that, but it's actually about being trapped within your own consciousness. Of like a negative...
It is having a definition that you are powerless.
Yes.
That you are not in control. And in that sense, you experience the fear that backs up and reinforces that belief, that definition. Yes.
And the power of that emotionally is just huge.
And there you have said it, and there you have found the way to expand the room. You see? There's the paradox.
Oh, I said it was huge.
The power of feeling powerless is enormous. The power that it takes to feel powerless is enormous.
Oh. Well, I've been at both ends of the spectrum, so...
And often in the middle, yes. But the idea, again, not to take away from anyone's process, is to again use the power of paradox and understand that if you feel helpless, if you feel powerless, you are using all your power to create that feeling.
Well, that's what's so scary about it, is having that much power.
Well, that's what many of you say about your power. It's scary.
Because it's not, first of all, the idea of communication with the self. I mean, the clarity of that communication, everywhere I look, communication breaks down in different areas, different ways. Be it if we're talking to youth in another dimension, or if we're talking to ourselves, or we're talking to each other.
Yes.
The communication is not as clear.
That is usually only because it isn't clear within yourself. Usually.
Well, you know, like the game of telephone they play on.
I understand.
It seems inherent in the...
Well, In that your society has created much of its language out of the disconnection to itself, it is no wonder that the language itself would also carry within it the ability to disconnect. The true language doesn't. Being telepathy. Yes.
So when you're having an experience of powerlessness,
yes,
and you feel the intensity of it, and you know that that's how huge your power is.
Yes.
But I think with that comes the definition that you're powerless to do anything about it.
Because you have definitions about power. You have definitions that you attach to the concept you call power that make power seem overwhelming, incapable of being contained.
Or controlled.
Yes. But you see, even attaching the concept to power that it is something that must be controlled automatically makes it uncontrollable. True expression of power does not require the kind of control you think it does. Remember what we said earlier. The biggest expression of power requires the most delicate of touches. That which is truly powerful needs only brush upon something to create profound change.
No kidding.
So, if you truly are exercising your full power, you will not have to control it. You will only have to be all the more gentle and easy. That's true power.
So,
but your definitions of power make it seem as if it will be easy to get out of control. But that's your definition.
I think it's not really knowing the intelligence associated with it and not communicating.
What you mean is it doesn't know yourself.
Yes.
Well, that's the whole point, yes.
Right.
The more you know yourself, the more you will understand that you're already using your power to create the experience of being powerless. And then you will decide that that's not the game you want to play anymore. And you will start allowing yourself to be more transparent about what you're doing and will allow yourself more conscious recognition that you are using your power. But after all, what is power? Power is only the ability, really, to choose. That's it. To choose. You all have that. That's all it is. That is all the most ultimate power in the universe will ever boil down to. The ability to choose.
So if you're going through releasing negative vibrations.
Yes.
And that's part of that process of experiencing
if you say so.
that. Well, yeah.
If you wish it to be your story,
don't.
Then that's your story. But that's what everyone is. A different story of the power. Even if it is a story of powerlessness, it's a different story of the power. Of the one. That's it. Just a different story. Write the story you prefer. You're the author.
Well, but see,
you're the author.
Don't we have to have a consensus, though, with other beings in writing our stories?
Yes and no. No story you as a human on earth will write that is the story you prefer will conflict with any other true stories.
True.
You know the way I mean that. Those that everyone feels are representative of their natural selves.
Okay.
The stories that are not representative of who you know you are can create conflict because that's the nature of the story. But you can all also write a story together and individually wherein there is no kind of conflict except creatively. You think about it a lot. And while you're thinking, we'll move to the next story.
Okay, thanks, Bashar. Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Back to current events. Do you have
current events.
Do you have any insight into the dynamics of the personalities of the relationship of the school teacher who had a child by her 13-year-old student and went to prison for 7 years? recently? Do you know about this?
Yes. Do I have any insight into the emotional dynamic?
Yeah, their relationship. Because I've been seeing someone who's much younger than me, and this is a new experience
Not
for
that
me.
much younger, though.
No, not that much younger, but it's still, it's making me think, I'm thinking that the person I'm seeing, it must be past life or something because it's so strong and not something I would normally do. And I'm wondering, do they have some kind of past life experience connection?
They do, but I'm not just going to leave it at that and chalk it up to that. The idea still involves the recognition of what exists at present and the responsibilities and integrity that go with that. The idea is to use the connection, to flow the connection and flow the recognition of the connection into ways that are empowering and respectful of the level of agreement and responsibility that exists within the parameters that the individuals have accepted at present. This is truly, of course, as you know, a drastic oversimplification of the dynamics of the relationship you are talking about. There is not, in your terms, enough time to really dig into it too deeply.
Okay, great. We'll go to the next thing then. Thanks. I'm a little confused about my motivations and my definitions here, and I'd like some help with it.
Now, there is no confusion about motivation. That is never a confusing thing. It's too simple to be confusing.
Okay.
You are always motivated to move and choose in the direction of what you perceive by definition to be the most pleasurable and the least painful thing. There is no confusion about that.
Okay, so I'm confused about some conflicting definitions I believe.
Yes.
I believe that to want something outside of yourself means that you're not complete and happy and fulfilled.
Well, it depends on how you mean that.
And who you are. Right. So it's real easy for me to want a car or a computer or something like that, and I know that when I want something I can usually manifest it. But I'm having a real hard time with a new desire I have to.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why? Thank you.
I know. I heard myself. I'm saying I'm having a hard time, and I can't believe I said that.
Oh, all right, but that's not what I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Why is the concept of a car outside yourself? Why do you consider that to be outside yourself? Is not everything you?
Yes, but if I don't own it, I feel like it's outside of myself.
Well,
there you have it. Something I don't possess, I believe is outside of myself.
But look at how you said that and understand how to mean that if you don't own it. Do you understand the inflection here?
Yeah, I do.
Energetically?
Yes, I got it.
All right, then.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Does that help you?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty.
Okay.
It is all about owning. And at the same time, recognizing when you may simply be projecting and placing your power in exteriorized symbols when you don't need to. But then at the same time, it's about understanding that everything is you, and if you really, truly own that, and you know you are working within your integrity to the best of your ability, then there is no reason why individuals cannot, in a harmonious way, in a constructive and beneficial way, allow their reality to reflect that, quote-unquote, ownership by the reflection of physiological symbols, such as a car, if you wish to use that as a symbol.
Well, here's where I'm having the problem.
Oh, all right.
The problem
Where is your challenge?
Yes, my challenge is here. I have this idea that I would be happier if I was in a relationship, an intimate relationship, like being married.
Yeah, you have this idea.
I have an idea that might make me happy. Just
might.
Right. It might be something I prefer.
Might.
All
right.
And yet, I think, well, if I'm thinking that might make me happy, then I must not be happy.
Well, in some senses, that's true.
And who I am. So then maybe I should...
In some senses, that's true, the way you have said it, yes.
So then, I don't know what to do with this.
Well, one suggestion would be to recognize that there is only one thing, of course, that makes you happy. And that's you. Do you follow that?
Yes.
Only you can decide that you will be happy.
Yes.
Are you waiting for me to drop a shoe or something?
I mean...
One moment. I'm not done. I have many shoes to drop. You know already, do you not, that only you can decide that you will be happy? Yes or no?
Yes.
Because you can be married and not be happy.
This is true.
And you can be not married and not be happy.
This is true.
And you can be married and be happy.
Yes.
And you can be not married and be happy. Yes? All of these are true, yes?
Yes.
Well, then, if all of those are true, what does it come down to? Who makes you happy? What makes you happy? Only you. Because obviously, by the example we have just given, it's not the circumstance. Because the circumstance, in that sense, is neutral. You can be happy or unhappy being married or unmarried. Therefore, that tells you, that example tells you, the happiness isn't in the circumstance and isn't not in the circumstance. The happiness is only in the one experiencing the circumstances, which means you are always, first and foremost, the master of whether or not you are happy.
I understand that, and that doesn't answer...
Oh, I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
But you understand that principle first, yes?
Sure I do.
Well then, the idea... Or do you wish to continue first?
No, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Thank you. The idea is to allow yourself the opportunity. Allow yourself permission. Allow yourself to know that you can create reasons to be unhappy, or you can allow yourself to have reasons to be happy. But that, when it comes right down to it, you don't really need reasons at all. You are the prime principle of your reality. You are the prime existence, the prime consciousness of the experience of yourself. You don't need a reason to do anything. You can just do what you want to do. You have absolute freedom to feel however you want to feel. You don't need a reason one way or the other. You can be miserable just because I feel like being miserable. I can be happy just because I feel like being happy. I can be sad just because. I don't need a reason. I am the creator of my reality. That is what it means to be made in the image of the infinite. I decide what I will experience. So, if I say, I'm happy, then I'm happy. And I know it's not just a glossing over, because I understand fully the concept that I am the prime consciousness of my reality. If I am faking it, I know I'm doing that too. But then that's what I'm choosing as an experience. And I acknowledge that and take responsibility for it. But that's the point. Whatever you are feeling, whatever you are experiencing, acknowledge it, take responsibility for it as it is. And ask yourself, this has no more or less reason for existing than anything else I could choose. So is this what I prefer? Yes or no? Decide what you do prefer and allow yourself to experience it without needing a reason to. Because you don't. Unless you insist that you do. Do you prefer to insist that you must have a reason to be happy? Or do you just prefer to be happy? That's the question. Be honest.
Well, if it's that simple, I would be happy all the time.
It is that simple.
Then the truth is I must prefer to not be happy all the time.
Thank you. Very good. You get an A. A+.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is true. And therefore, when you admit that, what happens? What instantly happens when you admit that?
I see that I'm responsible for happiness and unhappiness.
But more importantly, more to the core, it means you are always in control. You are never out of control. You are always making the choice. You are always intending the choice you experience. Always. And you don't need a reason to do so. If I say, I recognize I am choosing, so need a reason to be happy, that's my choice. That's my choice. That is my choice. That's it. Wow. That's my choice. You see, where you get yourself confused, many of you, is that you get caught up in the thing, the object within the scenario, instead of allowing yourself to understand the experience itself is the choice, not the object in the experience. The experience itself is the choice. Is this making some sense?
Well,
the experience of needing a reason to be happy is it. That's the choice.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Never mind what the scenario is about. Never mind that marriage has been made the object of the sentence and you are the subject. Don't look at the words. Don't even allow yourself to focus on the fact that there is grammar. It is the grammar that's confusing you. Understand that the fact that there is a sentence at all is the point of the experience. When you understand that, you will be able to make any sentence you want, and you will understand that the making of the sentence is the point, not what the sentence is about. When you understand that the making, the ability to even make the sentence, is the point, stop caring about what the sentence is about, you will profoundly and paradoxically understand that every experience within the sentence, everything that the sentence is about, will be capable of being experienced by you when the information in the sentence isn't the point. Is this sinking in at all?
Boy, I'm kind of in, and I'm a little confused.
Good. Good.
Okay.
Let's just stay present with it.
All right.
Just stay present with it.
Well, what I did get out of this was, I understand what you're saying, and it's bringing a little clarity into my challenge. And my challenge is, I was feeling like I shouldn't want something outside of myself. So that's my definition, and I see that now.
All right.
Okay, so now I can look at it as, I've been single, and now I prefer another experience.
All right, but let's go back. Let's go back.
Okay.
When you say, I shouldn't want something outside of myself.
Right. Everything is me, so it's never outside of myself.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the sentence itself, the creation of that sentence, of that perspective, is the whole point. Not that you really shouldn't want something outside yourself. That is the subject of the sentence. That's not the point. That's not the reality. But the creation of the perspective, the experience of the perspective is the only point to the sentence. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help lighten things up? No?
No.
All right. One more time. This will do for now. One more time. Say again. I had the perspective that I shouldn't want something outside myself.
You want me to say that?
Yes. Is that what you said before?
Yeah.
Oh, well then say it, yes.
I had the perspective that I shouldn't want something outside of myself.
All right. Now, what does that perspective mean to you as a consequence? Where do you go from there?
Where do I go from there?
Yes. Or I'll ask the question another way. Did you spend any time at all savoring the fact that you actually had that perspective, or did you allow the subject and object of the sentence simply move you on to other things, looking for something else to do? Or did you stay with the experience of the perspective?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, you do. You moved right along. Obviously. You didn't stay with the experience of the perspective.
Okay.
What does it mean to you that you have the ability to experience that you shouldn't want something outside yourself? What does that experience mean to you?
I'm pretty creative.
Yes?
That's a pretty complex thing to create.
Yes, it is. And when you stay in the moment with the experience, you begin to understand those kinds of things. And understanding those kinds of things, hey, this is a pretty creative and complicated thing to have created. When you get into it that way, you will be truly staying where you need to be, and you will be happy with who you are. No matter what you've done. No matter what perspective you've created, you'll be enamored with yourself for having created it. You will enjoy having created the perspective for its own sake. Rather than getting caught up in what you think the statement is supposed to lead you to. You see the difference?
Yes.
That's the difference between simply riding along, keeping yourself focused on the future, and staying within the point of present power. Did that make some sense to you?
Yeah, it made a lot more sense than I was looking for.
I see. In other words, it burst the bubble.
Yeah, it sure did.
Of the game.
Woo, God.
So you feel more present?
I feel huge.
Very good. Excellent. Well said. Moving right along.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. And now, number 4.
Bashar, greetings and gratitude from the Monday night meditation group in Sydney.
Oh, all right. And good day to you.
Especially from John, who, with a lot of respect, does a fairly decent imitation of you. So. I said with respect.
Understood. No disrespect would ever be taken.
Thank you.
Since all you're hearing right now is an imitation of you.
Point taken.
Thank you.
Following on with one question regarding the experiment the work that's being done in Virginia.
Yes.
And I know that you got the impression that you couldn't go much further with Joe's question, but one of the gentlemen involved has recently been in an accident and has had seizures.
Yes.
And those around him are very concerned that the accident was a result of his work with the electromagnetic field. Can you...
Let us simply say that the electromagnetic fields may have aggravated and or magnified and or amplified something that was already off kilter. This is, to this point, as far as we can take this right now.
Understood. Thank you.
Is there something else you wish to discuss?
Yes, there is. While I was working at the Monroe Institute, I'm very aware and very grateful for a lot of synchronistic things that are happening in my life on a day-to-day basis.
Your entire life, all of you, is synchronicity.
One of the challenges on my path that I'm currently working on is making the connection on a more intimate basis. Between
making what connection?
Myself and my higher self.
Oh, all right.
And working through abandonment issues.
Working through abandonment issues.
And vulnerability issues.
Yes, all right.
And I have worked through trying to do it with humor, trying to let it happen, trying. Yes, that trying word I know. I knew you were going to catch that one as soon as I said it.
Maybe that's why you repeated it, because you wanted me to.
Perhaps. And one of the experiences I had while I was doing one of the meditation tapes, in my perception, was a conversation with you in a sense that was, although I actually can't remember it, it was a very comforting resolution.
Thank you for comforting yourself.
And there are blocks that
no, they're not.
I feel I am putting up.
No. No blocks. Choices. No blocks. Choices. You're making choices. You're motivated. You're choosing. You know what you're doing. You know what you're afraid of, and you know how far and fast you want to go. So you're making choices. You're putting on the brakes. They're not blocks. You're regulating yourself as you choose to, as you're motivated to. And you're in control.
And consciously, I feel I'm choosing to pull the blocks down. I went through a situation where I asked what I needed to do to make that connection. And the information I got was that I had to die.
Well, in a sense, yes.
And so I went through a ceremony of anointment and bearing my abandonment and bearing my vulnerability and then
Right.
actually killing
Does that work
myself.
for you?
No.
No, not at all. Not even one iota.
Yes, 1 iota.
Oh, all right, just one iota.
So my question is,
Yes, your question is?
other than continuing to choose to pull down the blocks,
Yes.
is there any other guidance you can give me?
All right, well, let's go back to the basics. By holding on to these ideas, what do you get out of holding on to them? How does it serve you in some way to continue to perpetuate this state of being?
Let's get frustration and anger.
Now, how does it serve you, though? I understand you recognize that there are ways it does not serve you, but how does it serve you? Because if it didn't serve you, you wouldn't hold on to it. Believe me, there is no such thing as a lack of motivation in the human species. And once you have defined something as truly being tipped on the scales as being more painful to hold on to, then you will let go of it. But as long as you hold on to it, it must seem less painful to hold on to it than making a change. So, the question either is, how does it serve you? Can be answered perhaps by saying, you might have a definition of what it is you are changing to that makes what you may change to more painful than simply holding on to something that you're familiar with, no matter how painful it may be.
The fear of the power.
What power?
Of being who I completely am.
Fear of that power. Now may I ask you a very sneaky question?
Of course.
Well, why, thank you. Because we do enjoy asking sneaky questions. How do you know that you have this great power? How do you know that there is some great power you are avoiding? How do you know that?
I've been told that.
So, you believe everything you hear? How do you know? Or are you uncertain you even have this power? Be honest.
No, I know it's there.
Oh, how? How do you know you have this great, all-consuming, unlimited power? How do you know? And by the way, of course, correct me if I am using inappropriate adjectives.
If I didn't know I had it, I don't think I'd be as afraid of it as I am.
Oh, interesting point. If I didn't know I had it, I wouldn't be as afraid of it as I am. Well, that's very, very creative of you to say that. But what does that actually mean? Is the amount of fear that you're feeling then not the same energy you would be using if you were expressing your power? Do you not understand it is the same energy? That what you feel as this great overwhelming fear is exactly the same energy that you would be feeling if you expressed it as power? Don't you understand you're already feeling the same energy? You're not avoiding anything. You're just using that energy. You're just using that power to create a sense of overwhelming fear. You're not avoiding the power. You're just using it that way.
In a different way.
Yes. You haven't avoided anything. None of you have. You're only a 100% energy. If you experience overwhelming fear, it's not the fear of, in a sense, using the energy that is your power. You are just creating a definition within yourself that makes it seem as if you are not tapping into it. But you are. You're just experiencing it as fear. That's all.
Okay.
Now, if you don't prefer to experience it that way, then don't. But please don't assume that you are not experiencing your power, your energy. Totally. You are. Always have been. Always have been. All of you. Never a moment when you don't experience your total power. It's just that you use your total power sometimes to make it seem as if you are less than your total self. But you're using your total power to do that. Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
So you don't have to be afraid of the total power. You're already using it. You can't do anything less. Your power doesn't exist in fractions. There is only one. There is only one. In true existence, there is nothing less than one. There are no fractions in that sense. You can use the one to make it seem as if the one is fragmented. That's why you have all different people in creation, because the one used itself to create the apparency of fragmentation into the many. But the one still knows it is the one, that all are the one. You are simply playing the game where you don't understand that you are using the oneness of yourself to create the apparency and the experience that you are using less than the totality. But that's all it is. You're still using all that energy to do that. So you don't have to be afraid of what it's going to be like to use all that energy. You're already doing that. That's, as you say, old hat. It's just a matter of asking yourself, do I want to continue to use all my energy to pretend that I'm not using all my energy? Or do I want to use all my energy consciously? Or at least allow myself to consciously know I'm using all my energy, even while I know that there may be reasons sometimes I give myself for not experiencing it that way. Because sometimes there are valid reasons for experiencing it as a piece, because that's a valid experience to do that. But if you know you're using your whole energy to do that, then that's all right. You just don't have to get caught up in the game of thinking or pretending or believing that you're actually not experiencing your total energy and that you're afraid to. Do you understand the difference?
Yes, I see.
Is this helping at all?
It is very much.
Is it lightening you up at all?
I'm floating. Yes, thank you.
Are you feeling any more release?
A little bit, yes.
A little bit. All right, a little bit. Do remember that that's also a definition.
Mm.
When you say a little bit, that's a definition that determines how you experience a total change. Because every change is a total change. You, the you I'm talking to now, is not the you that was here a moment ago. I don't know where she went. But you are not her. Right now, if you decided to define yourself how you prefer to right now, you could be anything you wish right now. Regardless of anything she chose to be, wherever she went.
Right.
But if you say, well, I changed a little, then you are a totally, absolutely, completely new you, deciding to experience yourself as if you are the old you who has changed just a little. But you are a completely new you doing that. That's the difference.
Got it.
When you begin to understand and see yourself that way, then miracles are the natural order of things every day. Instantaneous and spontaneous change blossoms from you when you know that every change is total. When you want that to be your experience of your total energy, it will be. As long as you don't, it won't be. But if you don't, that's all right. I'm not going to force you to feel it that way. Because whatever you decide to use your energy for is up to you. Because it's your energy. You own it. You decide how to use it. I'm only here to suggest that you can use it in other ways and be aware of the fact that you're using it to create what you're experiencing now. But if you take that to heart, that's up to you. If you don't, that's up to you. Because who you are is unique, and I would never take that uniqueness away from you. Especially because I can't. So I would never even try. Is this helping?
It's helping a great deal. Thank you, Bashar.
Then illumination to you and illumination to all of you, our unconditional love this day of your time. And we thank you for allowing us to experience the unique facets of all that is, that each and all of you are. Our unconditional love and good day. How did it go?
Great.
Thank you all for being here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again. Have a good night. Thanks.
do not fit into normal receptive view. I think I forgot that. So, if you want, I can give you my phone number and call me. I can see if I can find that and make a copy of it.